The Village of Lake Barrington Board of Trustees meeting for this Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. It is 7:07 p.m. My apologies, I had to take care of something between meetings. With the clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Briner? Here. Trustee Hayes?
Present.
Trustee Perkins? Here. Trustee Schaller?
Here.
Trustee Schaumoser? Trustee Van Ryn?
Here.
President Burke?
Here, thank you. Would you all please rise and join me in the saying of our pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Very good. Next item is approval of minutes. These are the minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. Are there any comments, edits, or clarifications for the clerk before we vote to approve those notes? Anything? Not. Chair would like a motion to approve the notes. Moved by Trustee Hayes. Second by Trustee Schaller. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Briner? Yes. Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Schaller?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
President Burke?
Yes, thank you. Two things under President's remarks tonight. One is just a quick thank you to Sharon and the staff. We had ourselves a quite Friday the 13th week back in March. Most of you up here are aware that beginning on Friday the 13th, with the storms in the area and everything else, we lost power. And we had some real difficulty getting power back online. We were not fully phased properly, and it burned out some pumps, and it did some other stuff. It knocked out our well. So we were pretty much out of business. We were also having early voting in the village, which we ultimately then had to cancel because on top of that we got a gas leak. So it was a freaky Friday the 13th, all mixed together. Long and short, we fought the gas leak, we fought through plumbing issues, we fought through well issues, we fought through, what am I missing? Fire alarms, random smoke detectors. This electrical thing really did us some dirt. I believe we need a new well pump.
We did.
We got a new well pump out of it. We had to tear the building open and fix it where the gas main comes in and cap some of that off. Definitely, we had no heat
Yes.
for many days. For 2 days. So we had to pull the plug on early voting, much to the chagrin of many locals, and we had to pull the plug on working here from Village Hall. But due to the great support, perseverance, and flexibility of our amazing staff, we pulled through. Thank you. I just want to say thanks for keeping it all going through some pretty crazy week. I think it was Friday the 13th till Monday the 23rd that this was all going on. I was just sitting on the beach in Florida having a great time, just to be honest. If I said, Sharon, stop calling me with this stuff. It's bringing me down. So I actually did a great job. So thank you. Thanks to the staff for doing that. The other thing, we have a special guest with us tonight. Daniel Weimer is here from DB Menswear. Daniel is here to address the board on some plans he has for expanding his business. And as we like to do here with our business owners and prospective business owners, is provide the courtesy to hear about that, provide questions, comments, and feedback to you before you go all in and start engaging. And so the goal tonight is to try to learn more about what you're doing, provide some feedback, ask some questions, use some of us, and then you get a sense of the pulse of the board about the support that you may receive as you go forward and pursue that. So nothing we do or say here is binding in any way, shape, or form. It's just a courtesy so you get a sense of the support that you might receive to pursue this. So welcome, Daniel. Always good to see you here. We appreciate you. We appreciate your business. We're thrilled for its success. We're thrilled that you live locally and work locally with us. You've been supportive of us tremendously. You've sponsored our bar and stuff. You've just been a great friend and supporter of the village, and hopefully you the same support and friendship back from us. So good to see you. And please tell us a little bit more about what you have planned. Make sure you hit your button on there so your red light lights up so we can hear you.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate it. And it hasn't been my first or second. I think this is my third time kind of coming to you guys and talking about a similar concept that I had come up over the last couple of years, and for mostly real estate, issues that never came to fruition. But finally now, the Elevation Hair Salon came up. They finished up their lease next door to my store, and it kind of is a perfect fit, if you will. I mean, it's a blank space, and I want to do a similar concept, but this would be a membership-driven social lounge. So what that would mean would be it's not something that's going to be necessarily open to the public 24/7. I'm looking to obtain a liquor license, so it's going to be a lounge, but with a membership-driven business model. So music, the members, which is going to be coming from a majority of my customers that I've acquired over the last 5 years, now almost 6 years that we've been open at DU Menswear, and just been talking about it with my customers over the last couple of years, and everybody's been waiting for it to happen, and pretty excited, and finally now's the time to have the property, have the lease that is nearly signed, but not yet. I wanted to make sure I dotted all my I's, crossed all my T's, and came to you guys and had the full support of the village behind me before I pursued going any further. So, any questions?
So great. As customary, we'll just go around the dice and see if there's any questions or comments for you, starting with Trustee Hayes. Am I right?
No, I mean, I get the concept. It's not like there's not private, membership places all over the thing. It's going to help expose your business to your other business to more business. So, I say pursue it. See what comes on the back end.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here and explaining everything. I say go for it. I don't have any questions. Thanks.
Thank you.
For the benefit of those on YouTube that are watching, explain it to us. Just exactly what is the concept, hours, and tell us all about just exactly what she is.
So it's a membership-driven social lounge. It's for guys and gals. The majority are my men who shop in my store, and there's significant others that would be, coming to the establishment. It's kind of what happens in my store that exists already, minus having a bar that you can pay for drinks. It's just a lot of business dealings, a lot of community members that, like-minded individuals that live close by or in our town specifically, have a place to go to that they can call their own. It's not a country club per se where, you have a family aspect to it. It's all driven. So you're going there for premium service, great conversation, and with that umbrella, I'll be doing special events and game night, movie night, and what have you. And also having the restaurant next door and working with them to be able to do some light bites in addition out of their kitchen into the space that I have.
Hours of operation?
I'm tossing that around right now, but I was just thinking, more of like a 12 to 12 kind of place.
Okay. Age restriction? No.
Well, the members, everybody's going to be 21 and up, period. It's going to be, everything's going to be a contract, if you will, at the beginning of the year, so nobody under 21 would be administered into the premises.
So adult primarily, no children?
Correct.
No, sounds like a great opportunity to enhance your business and certainly provide something uniquely different in the village.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. I haven't met you before because I'm relatively new. However, something these people don't know is that I started my career named Marcus. And contrary to what Andy thinks of me, that incredibly successful because it really targeted the customer base, that upper 2% of the population, which Neiman's drew from. But seriously, huge draw. People were dying to get into it. Not everybody was allowed,
Right.
so it's that special. And lots of great events, and it became a place to have deals made. It was also in conjunction with the Zodiac Room, so you've got these amazing food things. So you have something that can work. Good luck.
Thank you.
How are you? Good to see you.
Excellent, good to see you.
Thanks. I'm just curious, a couple things. Do you see yourself publicizing this beyond your current clientele, opening it up to other community members, for example?
I think as I've learned, word travels fast. It's a small town, which I love, and people will hear about it. I mean, I've already had people come up to me, just from hearing from my customers, at the gym or, out and about. Oh, I heard you're gonna do it. I was like, whoa, not so fast. But, I think that yeah, I'm not aiming to do any marketing whatsoever. Kind of like my men's clothing store was just grassroots, word of mouth. Offer something special and they'll come.
When would you hope to open it?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, barring everything and that moves forward at a clip, it's probably close to 8 months from signing the lease. So we're looking at hopefully football season. That would be a pretty fast target date, but we'll see if things pop up. So we'll see how it goes.
That'd be a great time. Last question, do you have a subscription fee in mind?
So it would be, it would be initiation fee plus monthly dues, similar to most private clubs. Right now, it would be broken into kind of like 2 major tier groups, and maybe possibly I'm talking about a third for enticing the younger 25 to 30 year, category, which a lot of my men shoppers from 60 plus years old, they have their sons, and it's like they want to be part of it. And I think that's, integral too, is having a kind of a family base where it will grow from generation to generation. If that answers your question.
Very good. Thank you.
Well, I was sharing your plan with my wife, and she pretty much echoed, she's a marketer, and she echoed your sentiments, and she said, wow, that's really a marketing strategy. He's already done a really good job of building his customer base, obviously, and there's a built-in demand that you already know from the way that people like to hang out in your place. And it is that kind of place. You got the couches, you got the stereo, and I can see why people do that, right? So it seems natural, but you're natural at, you understand your brand and your audience, and you're naturally customer oriented. So I have a high degree of confidence that you can execute this thing. You can execute your vision, right? And I think that's good. I have a couple of questions, practically speaking. One is, will it be actually connected to your store, or will it be like a secret passageway that you have to go through to get to it, or is it going to be like a room?
So,
how are you envisioning that?
Well, I mean, the first thing is fire safety. So, you have to have 2 entrances and exits. So I've got the front and I have the rear. The front, which I don't know if everybody heard, would be about a 250 to 300 square foot gift shop specializing in higher end men's gifts. Because, a lot of my customers over the years, I've got a buddy's, it's his 40th or 50th wedding anniversary, or you have, it's my buddy's birthday and I want to give him something special. There's no budget, but getting clothes is kind of something that's challenging for a guy. It's not something that's normal. So what I want to do is I want to have this kind of upscale gift shop, cigars, high-end, alcohol, scotch, whiskey, bourbon, plus having some sort of, let's say, baccarat crystal snifter sets, just something really luxurious, very Neiman's oriented. So in there, that would be all wood paneling, and then I have emergency exit for the club behind. Then there's a rear exit that goes to a set of stairs out the back of the building. And then to your point, which would be the entrance for the members, which would be next to my current bathroom slash dressing room, which the door would go into the private club. So that would be more of like the secret entrance.
So that'd be like, kind of like, oh, I got it. So you'd have sort of open to anyone would be the retail area.
Correct.
And so that's the storefront.
Right.
And then you would enter through the,
Enter through the store, driving traffic
and then
through
take
my
the secret,
store.
and then take what I said, the secret passageway, like a bookcase that spins or something.
Right, some flush door.
Yeah.
The speakeasy.
Yeah. I mean, that's right. So
Legal speaking.
Right.
Yes.
The second thing, which is a much more practical matter that I always have to defer to council on, is whether there are any unique concerns that we might have from a liquor licensing standpoint that would, as a courtesy, that we would just identify and say,
I took a look at that, and I don't think so. I think even though it's going to be kind of, your customer base is going to be membership based, it would still be classified as a for-profit liquor license in your hands.
Correct.
And you would be selling the memberships as part of your revenue streams.
Correct.
Yeah, that's how I anticipated. So we have some club-type classifications not really used in our liquor regulations, because we had the Knights of Columbus or the school properties, and they have a liquor license for some events. But I don't think, I don't see it as presenting any particular problems.
and there'd be two components. There's a retail component,
Right.
and then there's an on-premise component.
And that's a very unique, that's actually becoming more and more common. I think there's a bicycle, I've heard that there's a bicycle store in Conda where they have kind of a bar too. And there's a couple different retail establishments in Barrington where they have like a service business or a retail establishment business. So the combination is like developing.
Yeah, there's a place in Lake Zurich called Consume. I don't know if anybody's ever been in there. Off to the side, they actually have a little liquor store back in there, so they're doing retail sales out of that. So it's been a point of clarification. If I'm a member and I'm paying my dues and I go in there and I want to drink, is it like a country club where I'm running a tab and you're charging me to drink?
Well, I think with the members, they're gonna have a card on file so they won't have
But I
to.
mean, they're paying per drink.
Correct.
I mean, it's not a pay for the membership and then you drink what you want.
No,
You're not
no,
paying,
no, it's per
pay as you go.
It's paid.
So you're buying, so the point where you're still buying, like you would at a on-premise. There's not something being given away
Correct.
with the membership, that's the clarity that I'm
Correct.
looking for. And then you say special events, which I can imagine all kinds of stuff, bourbon tasting, wine tasting, this things, and
Well, now getting a license and then be able to do all that without having to involve
right.
other
Right,
parties.
so once that license, we would just make sure that we created it in such a way that it accommodated everything that we wanted to do in one-stop shop.
Yeah, I kind of worked out those details.
Okay, good.
That's
what I like to hear.
So I would have, it just tell us when to pull the trigger, really.
Yep. So I think you're hearing pretty overwhelming support. Like we said, we appreciate you, we appreciate the business that you've established here. It fits our brand, it fits the fact that we talk all the time about like needed amenities, because we know our local people shop there, which is great. And people from outside of here, but it's nice to have an amenity that we know that our residents want and need. And we think this is another one that our residents will want, need, and come to. So I think it's really a pretty cool idea, and we're hopeful that you're able to make that happen. So it sounds like you got pretty good support from this board at this point in time to move forward. So hopefully that's helpful.
That gets me one question. I know you had applied for or contemplated a liquor license earlier. Were you fingerprinted and did you go through that?
No, I still need to go through
Okay,
that.
so just plan that in your, that process usually takes at least 30 days to get fingerprinted and send them off to the FBI and state police, so.
Can I start that process now
Yeah,
without any?
but I can,
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
We'll take your motion off the prints tonight.
got it right here.
Thankfully, they've never been taken. All
Well,
right.
thanks for coming out tonight and spending time with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Have a
everybody.
good rest of your night.
Take care.
See you. All right, agenda item number 6 is an opportunity for the public to address the board on agenda items. I see no one here wishing to be recognized, so we move on to the consent agenda, which consists of, I believe, the 3 items that we spoke about tonight, which is the ordinance for special use permit for Lake Barrington Woods, new ownership, the extension of the engagement letter, and consideration of temporary use for the Field Flower Garden Club. So we have those 3 items that we will be moving on in block.
So,
Oh, is there one more?
well, you kind of said 3, but it was the ordinance, the 1-year
Oh,
extension.
yes, sorry, and the Sullivan 1-year extension. Thank you. So items A, B, and C. So before we move to approve those in block, is there any other comments, questions, concerns, or discussion that's required before we do so? Okay, if not, Chair would like a motion to approve ordinance number 2026-0-7, an ordinance consenting to the assignment of amended and restated special use permit to authorize a senior citizen housing plan development as granted by ordinance number 95-0-14, as amended relating to lots 1 and 2 in Longway subdivision, and motion to allow the village administrator to execute the 1-year extension engagement letter with Selden Fox Association in the amount of $15,900, and C, motion to approve temporary use special event for the Field and Flower Garden Club to hold its plant sale at Friar Farm on Saturday, May 16, 2026, from 7 to 2 p.m. Do I have such a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Hayes,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Perkins. The clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Brenner? Yes. Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Schauer?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes, thank you very much. Next agenda item is item 8, zipping right along, the treasurer's report. Treasurer Hirsch.
Thank you. So tonight, we're looking at financial statements for the month ended February 28, 2026. So we're 10 months into our 12 months, so we're moving right along. We analyzed a lot of this for our budget discussions, but I will go through what's happened in the last 10 months. It's in the books, so to speak. So you'll see that we have total assets of $4,410,000. Our liabilities are $430,000. Equity is $3,979,000. So the total of those two do equal our assets, so everything's in balance. We have total revenues of $3,915,000. Our expenses of $2,900,000. So year to date, 10 months into the year, our net income is $1,014,659. At this point last year, we were showing a $31,000 net income. And so to compare those, we take out we'll call it extraordinary items, and that's done down below, and that's mostly road work. And in the case of this year, it's also the transfer to the infrastructure fund. When we normalize those out, we show a regular operating income for this year of $1,210,000 compared to last year, $780,000. So that's a difference of $430,000. It just so happens that sales tax and use tax combined together are $445,000. So it's easy to say, well, that's a big part of it, but it really is. We have some other items that are going up and some other items going down. But most of those cancel each other out and they're not largely material. So this is really the biggest difference between the 2 years. So if we flip forward and we look at the budget to actual report, you'll see on the revenue page, which is my page 12. I'm not sure what it is in your packets, I'm sorry. We have total revenue of 106%. So that means we've collected more than we budgeted and we still have 2 months left in our fiscal year. And if you kind of scroll up there, you'll see what the outliers are. Sales tax right now is 144% actual budget. So we budgeted around $900,000. We've already collected almost $1.3 million. So that number will continue to grow for the next 2 months. So that's the outlier I keep talking about. Other items that are still up and overall tax revenue is up over 100%. The only thing bringing that down is the use tax, which you talked about. This little trade-off between use tax and sales tax this year. Use tax is going down, but not nearly as much as sales tax anticipated, obviously, since we didn't anticipate the cash. And secondly, rates have not come down. Every year they say interest rates will come down, well, they haven't really come down, but we did expect them to this year, but they have not. Looking at expenses, our expenses are now 85% actual budget, so pretty much trending right at 10 months. There's some ups and downs, but these higher percentages, those are small dollar amounts. I don't worry about those. Nothing really is concerning, but if there's any item in particular that someone wants to talk about, we can talk about that. I guess in addition to sales tax, a couple other items are adding to our revenue and balance, and that was one was interest income. The other item I need to mention is the DECO grant revenue. So we've collected DECO grant revenue, I think it's $147,000. None of that was budgeted. So that's really obviously going to bring our percent after the budget up as well. So we knew those were in the works. It was just hard to figure out when the budget does because how slow the state works. And they actually all three took over a year to collect the money. But all those grants have now been paid, nothing is in the works. And so in addition to the $147,000 we received this year, we did receive $32,000 last year. So that's almost $180,000 in grants over the last 2 years, which goes towards our expenses. So that's all I have on the general fund. Any questions before I move on?
I have one quick question.
Sure.
It's just kind of a strange one, but I've been looking at sticker revenue for yard waste at $5,800. First of all, the number's so surprising that we generate that much revenue from yard waste stickers, but what's the balance of the expense? Is that a full pass-through?
It's a full pass-through, but we do buy a bunch at once, so you won't see the revenue completely equaling the expense because we buy a number of stickers at once.
So it's a timing issue,
Timing
like what
issue,
you're saying is.
absolutely.
And so each sticker.
I think we make a tiny bit because we round up. Didn't we round up a little bit? Sure.
Maybe only by a few pennies.
Yeah, it's
I thought it's $3 and $3.
It's very.
It's $2.75 per sticker, and we charge 30.
Yeah, they're a little rounding up.
So that's our service and handling fee.
Correct.
But this pass through to our solid waste people. So in other words, so I'm not.
We charge us for it.
So whenever a bag is picked, I'm just trying to understand how the process works.
So it is LRS, correct. And every time we pick up a bag, the residents pay $2.75, $3 for a bag.
But does LRS then in turn, they're counting or keeping track of what they're picking up?
We buy the stickers from LRS.
Oh, I see. You're buying stickers from them, and that allows them, that gives them the green light to pick it up, is what you're saying. It has to have a sticker on it for them to pick it up. I got you.
And then we sell them to the public. Right.
I brought this up earlier because I saw that number too.
Yeah.
And I think about, from our standpoint, probably a wash, right? Because we're here every day, Rebecca here. But you think about the running around when the residents who don't get these stickers, there's really, I don't see the inherent benefit. So maybe it's worth looking at the next contract period. Do we really need to do it this way? Just forego this. This is a big time burn. And what are we getting at? So that costs no money.
So the fact of the matter is LBS doesn't use them anymore, so you might as well eliminate that. LRS, as part of the contract, LRS, or our landscape people now pick up the waste, so you don't have to use the stickers at LBS anymore.
Anyways.
Yeah, it's really is a discussion. I think it's, yeah, we want to make it as convenient as we can. I think probably the basis for it is both maybe a fairness and control. So like in other words, I don't want to think that I can dump unlimited number of bags by the curb.
Sure.
So there has to be some consequence to that. Like, or a landscaper says to me, my landscaper says to me, hey, can I put 100 bags out on your curb because your guys will take it for free?
Sure.
Right? So that would be the only maybe argument. I don't know if that's, I guess it's a little bit of skin in the game to just manage and control, and there are only certain people who use that service as opposed to either maybe spreading that cost, right, over all residents or eating that cost, I guess is what, I don't know if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I just think getting your car, you drive a few miles, you got depreciation on the vehicle, you have your time, what's that worth?
Right.
So that was the thinking. And realistically, I think you said, the driver behind us, I have no idea. it's everywhere, it's not just this division.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's probably a control issue, meaning controlling how much and how often it gets put out by the curb. So there's you have some skin in the game, you know. Plus, I'm going to fill that bag as full as I can, just like shopping at Menards when it's 20% off. Everything can go in one bag.
It's different when you have a garbage can that is
Right.
confined, you can only fit so much stuff, right?
Very good. That was my only question. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have questions? Anybody else? Okay. We'll move then to the next fund, which is the motor fuel tax fund. And that currently has $632,000 in there. And that should end up with about $672,000 by year end. And that was part of a little bit of the conversation earlier tonight about what's available for road work in the years to come. And then on page 20, that's net current assets and everything, $652,000. If you look at the budget to actual, things are trending pretty much on track. Really no concerns to mention at this point. The fund will probably lose a little bit of money this year. Currently it's showing a net loss of $147,000, but $86,000 of that is in depreciation, so it's a non-cash expense. So we'll lose a little bit of money in the fund this year, but we know that each year. So we're having conversations about building the raising the rates. Okay, so I'll go to the warrants real quick. So as we talked earlier, and President Burke mentioned, we had two very unusual events this past month. So a lot of the unusual invoices are related to either the well pump breaking down or the gas leak. So this is the start. So all four invoices from the AA service company, there's four. There's $99, $3,175, $208.13, and $249.75. And then there's two invoices from Black Diamond Plumbing. One is $499 and one is $165. And then lastly, the invoice from GPRS for $750. Those are related to the gas leak that we had, and that came to $4,896.13 to deal with the gas leak. And then for the plumbing issue, the well pump going, or the well breaking down, the Black Diamond Plumbing invoice for $15,817.55. And I'm throwing in the Louis Throne one because that's for the porta potties we had to get because we didn't have plumbing. And that was $515. Excuse me 1 second. Getting over a cold, so. Excuse me, I'm very sorry. I'm finished. And then on warrant B, there's also a Black Diamond Plumbing invoice for $6,950. And that's for the field well pump. So all the well pump failures that came to $23,282.55. So that goes back to reacting versus, something ahead of time.
I have a question. With bringing when this event occurred on Friday the 13th, is any of that insurable?
So I believe Sharon has talked to the insurance company.
I've been working with the insurance company on that. There's a possibility it may not be because it's underground, and then there's things that they had said to me that it may not be covered because it's just a common loss of power. We're looking at it. Yeah, I'm looking into it. I thought I had an email from them from when I was on vacation. I'm not seeing it right now, but I'll reach out to her when I'm back in the office in the next couple of days. Yeah.
And on the well pump in particular, did we determine that thing's aging out anyway?
Yes, it was about, they said it was around 30 years old, so it was aging.
I would say that's aging out.
Yeah, and so obviously we have 3 legs of common power coming into
Right.
it, 2 going out. It was working overtime, so it did burn out. It was eventually going to, it's one of those things that kind of sped up the process, most likely.
Seems like the outlook is useful. Yeah.
Yes.
Possibly, yeah. We got our money's worth. Thank you.
Okay, and then there's just one more invoice that I would mention that's typically not shown each month, and that's the State Graphics for $2,196.38, and that is for printing of the spring newsletter. So, any other warrants that are raised questions or people have concerns about? Any of the other items on the warrant list? Okay, then I am done.
Thank you. Any other questions for the treasurer? All right, if not, Chair would like a motion to approve in block A financial statements as of February 28, 2026. B, pay bills in the amount of $134,551.93 is listed on the accounts payable warrant A dated April 7, 2026. And C, pay bills in the amount of $238,552.43 is listed on the accounts payable warrant B dated April 7, 2026. Do I have a motion, please?
I so move.
A move by trustee Brand,
Second.
seconded by trustee Perkins. Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Brandon?
Yes.
Trustee Dees?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Schauber?
Yes.
Trustee Cameron? Yes. Trustee Burke?
Yes, thank you very much. Agenda item number 9, the administrator's report. Sharon.
Thank you, President Burke. I have one item this evening. In our financial plan for fiscal year 2027, we do have money for the road work that's going to be done over the railroad tracks near Plum Tree and Route 14. We were attempting to do that last year, but there were a lot of issues with the township was unable to secure the certificate of insurance. Our risk management agency wouldn't provide the certificate of insurance because we weren't the ones doing the project. Darren Monaco from our engineering company and I were going back and forth on it. He had come up with 2 ideas on how to get this work done. One would be included as part of our road program as an add-on. The other one was to wait the 5 years, so it's an IDOT's 5-year plan, which that always sometimes those numbers always move, things get pushed further out. We felt it was best to add on to our road program for this year. We already have the money in the budget, the proposed budget to begin with, so it's not changing anything, but I just want to update everybody on that. And with that work being done, we're planning on having the work done in the fall because of homes still being built in the enclave and because the Heritage Estates is one of the subdivisions, which is a little bit closer to that section. It just kind of works out versus if all the work was going to be done in the north end of town. So I know once people start calling and asking whether work will be done, we at least can now say it will be a part of our work program. So an end is in sight. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. One question. Are we coordinating that work by the tracks with other partners, or have they already done their work and we're still waiting to do our, like, wasn't it a 3-piece, like the county's involved, maybe even
Yes.
Barrington Hills?
Barrington Hills is done.
So that part,
Their part-
they're
part
all
is
re-striped and
beautiful.
everything, so that's why I see it all properly striped, because that's
Yes.
part of the goals.
That was part
improving
of, yes.
the road strength, you know.
And so we will still, as a part of the program, coordinate with the railroad and IDOT and Lake County DOT. Because the village will still need to do all of that in the township.
Right, but is there any work that actually, from our little stretch, is there any work other than our little stretch that needs to be done by the county? Or
No.
so
It's
it
all
was really
us.
just Barrington Hills to the
South.
and
Yes.
west,
Yes.
and our little stretch
Yes.
that needs.
Yeah, when you go over it from Barrington Hills, if you were to turn right onto Northwest Highway, you'll see there's a horrible pothole that keeps getting
Well,
kind
that
of
stretch is
refilled.
actually kind of bad.
Right, and that pothole actually, once it's restriped, people will see that where that pothole was, that's actually not even,
Not
lane
even
you
road
drive in.
closers.
yes, yeah, it's supposed to
Take
be,
it over.
yeah, so,
People trying to get around to the right.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I said, help is on the way.
I was driving over there with our former president, Kevin Richardson, and I said, my God, this road is terrible. And he said, who's in charge of this place? I said, I have no idea. But they need to get it going. And my car went like this, and I hit a big hole,
You said you're complaining to those people.
and I was going to write a strongly worded letter. So anyhow, we'll look forward to getting our part done so that we are not the pariahs of the tracks anymore.
Yes.
Thank you for your report. Next agenda item is the clerk's report. Rebecca.
Thank you. Following up on business licensing, so it's due on April 30th, so we're really coming up quick. We've had 83 applications submitted, so I don't know how many people have started. I think about 250 businesses. I can't see how many people started, but just who's completely submitted everything, including fire, waste pickup started this week on April 1st, so that's expected until the end of November. And then voting resumes for the general election on November 3rd, so that will be further down the way, but still in sight, so.
Thank you. Rebecca, any questions for Rebecca? Okay, next we have our trustee reports, starting with Branding and Communications, trustee Ann Ryan.
Thank you, President Berg. We have many events coming up over the next 6-8 weeks or so that I wanted to share with you. First of all, this Saturday is the Wine and Design Tour. That is from 1 to 5 p.m. and it starts at the Wild Onion Brewery. That is through the Barrington Area Chamber of Commerce. Tickets are $25. So again, that's this Saturday, the Wine and Design Tour. Wednesday, 1 to 5. You can find more information on the Barrington Area Chamber of Commerce website. On Wednesday, May 6th, the Barrington Area Development Council is having their annual dinner and Citizen of the Year Award. That's at the McCray Memorial Country Club, Golf Club. And that starts at 5:30 on Wednesday, May 6th. We had our guest here last month talking about that, which was great. And then the annual Veterans of LBS Memorial 5K is happening Sunday, May 28th. My daughter and I will be walking in that again for the 3rd year, so encourage everyone to participate with us. That starts at 8 a.m. and the start line is at the Marketplace Shopping Center at the corner of Kelsey Road and 59. So we'll see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Van Ryan. Any questions? All right, next, economic development, trustee Hayes.
I'll go down a couple of tangents here, but we're going to be looking a little bit at the process. President Burke put together a little meeting where we could process. It's been some time, how we interact with all that we do. So that's one tenet to this. Another tenet is continuity of operations planning that we've been doing. We've had 3 years now. It's been in closed session because we're really covering reports and information that's kind of sensitive because it relates to security. But in light of that, we've had a lot of great progress. The volunteers who have donated their time have been really participating. But our business park, I talked to President Burke, roping them in here shortly to get their perspectives because they're the lifeblood of our tax revenues. What does it look like for them if there's a disaster emergency? We haven't just had an excellent question, so I'm going to try and convene something with them. In light of this coup thing in the June meeting that we're going to have, committee of the whole, I'd like to do a back brief to the board as to where we're at, what we've learned, and then get, I guess, guidance and direction from President Burke and the board as to some of the conclusions that we've reached related to being prepared to move out and then start planning against those tenants. So that'll be June with the idea of in the September timeframe, come back and brief again on our discovery, what we determined would be appropriate, and then from September to December, rewrite the plan. And then in next year, in 2027 calendar year, do an exercise and exercise our updated emergency operations plan. So that is what has been happening. I'm grateful for the volunteers. And the business park, the fire protection districts, the sheriff, the hospital, all of them are going to be brought in here. It's really been the volunteers getting us all spun up for the big muscle movements that will be coming up in the next few months. So I'm pretty excited about it. I'm grateful for people's participation in the backgrounds. Brenda had a chance to come this week. Last week, rather, John was at the previous one. It's open to all of you. We're doing kind of a joint board of trustees / planning. So you're welcome to come. The only limitation is we don't have a quorum of trustees. You have to just sit and listen. But that's not that big of a deal. Anyways, really appreciate everybody's support of this activity. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for trustee Hayes?
I don't know from an economic development standpoint if it's been notified, but they have a new, Bryan Properties is now the property management for the marketplace. So
And so Rebecca did a data dump of the businesses in the business, all of them. The detail, kind of what they do, and came out of our business license database. The volunteers team looked at all the greatness we have sitting over there that can help the village on a bad day as much as it's pretty intriguing. As she goes through updating this, we'll do another dump of the system once all the get through licenses, and that'll be an input into a lot of things we'll do. It's very interesting for me to look at it, and if you'd like a copy of it, Rebecca can provide it to you, but it's very interesting to see all the greatness we have in there that I didn't know. So pretty impressive.
Other questions or comments? Okay, next up, external relations, that's me. Two quick updates. One, I met with Kimberly and Marion from Bayhawk earlier, I guess it was late last week. They've been making the rounds, talking to municipal leadership about sort of the ongoing role of Bayhawk, which I think is great. They're just asking for fresh input. What are people looking for? What do they want to use it for? What should they be focusing on? What is the vehicle? And gosh, we spent almost 2 hours over at Pepper Park. That was a lot of revenue for them. A couple of rounds of coffees. Not a pretty wire after that, honestly, but really, really good conversation. I'm very impressed with them. She's thinking very much for the future and making sure that Baycog remains relevant, because any organization like that can quickly become non-relevant if you aren't clear on your mission and what you're trying to accomplish. And, you know, a few obvious things keep popping to the top, which is having a unified voice on regional issues is so critical, because it would be very hard, it would be much harder on the rest of us if an issue like Governor Pritzker's Build Act came up, and now we all are swimming on our own and trying to figure out how to approach this thing. Baycog gives you an outlet. I wish you could very quickly circle back and figure out the regional position, and rather than 8 disparate, different positions on this from each smaller community, having one voice for a region makes a lot more sense. So that's very high at the top of my list, and when things like this pop up, it makes sense to reinforce that. But there's a lot of other cool things that they do, and one of the things that I thought would be valuable also would be what I would just call best practices. Things that you do that you can share. It can be process, right? Like, why reinvent the process if somebody's already figured out how to do yard waste stickers better, right? Why reinvent the wheel? How do other people do it? Or do they even do it at all? And then making sure that there's access between staff and yourself and other administrators, because there's a lot of good knowledge out there. People have been doing this a lot longer. And sometimes we a little bit lose sight of that, because we take on these really big issues, but we rarely just sit around and talk about how we're running our villages and the smaller issues. So I just said I'd like to figure out how to have a discussion time to just do kind of best practices or sharing, or maybe there's separate events. Because some cool things have come out. It tends to happen to me more often in casual conversation with some of the other leaders as opposed to formal conversation. They'll say, oh, do you know about the phone, the new phone system or whatever? I've never heard of it, right? Well, we use it, it's great. So these are the kind of things that we think they could do, but they're doing a good job, and so that's something that we're retooling. Obviously, connectivity is a big one, and I know you work on that. I think that's massive, when you talk about connectivity of a region. You can't do it if you're not all on the same page, right? So those kinds of regional transportation and connectivity issues are really critical. So kudos to them. Related, I mentioned the Governor's Build Act, and we will be we'll be considering a resolution of that in just a few moments from now, so I'll just preempt that because it is an external relations issue. And I wanted to say to those who may be watching or future watching at home, speaking of BAHOG and others, the region itself and the BAHOG membership have rallied very quickly around this. Our local representatives have rallied very quickly around this, and we very quickly come to a common point of view. And that's a tribute to the way we're organized. And so it's important not only that you get it right, but if you get it right, you get it right quickly. And we were able to get the message right and get the message out quickly. And that's important, and that doesn't always collectively know that collectively seeding zoning standards and some of these other things and giving up control of that as a municipality, we think is very, very bad for the municipalities and a very dangerous precedent to be setting where we lose control of the development process. I'm not going to get into the rabbit hole of details, but it's not an anti-affordable housing position. It's there's no one size fits all to tell us how to do this. There's better ways to accomplish this than giving us this very detailed roadmap that may work for some communities in the state, but certainly won't work for our communities in the state. That's the message. So I just want people to understand it's not an anti-affordable housing stance. It's an anti-don't tell us how to do it stance because it's not going to work for us that way. So we'll be talking about that, but I'm very pleased with how we regionally responded to this issue and quickly found the most salient points that we wanted to get forward. I'm very pleased that the president of North Barrington, Eleanor Sweet McDonald, is going to Springfield next week. She's agreed to carry some letters on our behalf, and she's got appointments with a lot of legislators down there. So we're going to get after this thing in every way that we know how to. So we'll keep you posted on that. And you'll have your chance to put your own stamp on that when we consider the resolution on maintaining control of this as a municipality. And that is my report. Thank you. Any questions? Okay, keeping it moving. Next is Finance and Resources. Trustee Schallmoser is not here. I don't think he left us with any report. So we'll move on to Roads and Infrastructure. Trustee Green.
Thank you, President Burke. And actually, I'm piggybacking on BayCog meeting that I was able to attend in your absence.
Thank you.
Because one of the things that came out was several of the other villages made the point or reported out that they had gone out to do their bids for their roads already this year, and that they were surprised that they were coming in lower. And it was because they found out that IDOT had gone ahead and dumped some of the contracts and some of their plans. So they were able to take advantage of contractors who had open capacity. So I immediately then called up Sharon and was like, hey, we have some of these projects. Would it make some sense for us to consider moving some of them up? Well, we know because of some of the commitments we made and some of the building projects going on in the outlay and everything, we're not able to. So we will be keeping it going in late fall. But one thing I do find that I think is important to keep you all apprised with, or to, is what's going on with asphalt and asphalt costs. I come from a background where I always reported in commodity changes to the upper management of my companies. And we're in a precarious kind of position where things are going all over the place. But asphalt has gone up in 1 month 14%. It's heavily driven by oil. So when you go ahead and see a barrel of oil go up $10, figure 2 to 3% increase on your asphalt. So we need to be keeping that in mind. It's a more of a lagging indicator. It's not going to be as quick, but you will see it going on throughout the summer. And they're actually saying if things continue as they are, it's going to be higher by the time we get to do our bidding. And I just want to bring that to everybody's first, let you all know about it, be aware of it now. The other thing, since I like all roads, and the thing that's great about BayCog is people talk about all the roads. Barrington, Village of, is going to be doing a whole revitalization of their landscape, their sidewalkscape of downtown Barrington, which means it's going to be beautiful, but it's going to take 4 or 5 months, and that means there's going to be congestion, there will be roads shut down. End result, great, but just be aware coming into summer, that's going to be the case. The other thing is Wakanda, from 176, the little bridge right in town right after docks, it's going to be closed for 6 months. So you're going to have to start thinking about alternative routes. So let everybody know about that. The other thing, I don't know if you were told this, President Burke, BayCog is trying to get Fort Barrington and North Barrington mayors involved. So they will be showing up, I guess, at the next meeting. And part of the plan, the book, is to let them come free and see the advantages
is that they can't help, then that's the reality. Now, and every village is structured differently, every village has different constraints, every village has different issues. North Barrington and what was the other part, Barrington? Pretty unique because they don't really have commercial corridors, so they're primarily residential, and their issues are very different without any commercial. Lord knows, can you imagine, Rebecca, a world without any businesses? Can you even imagine what your day would look like if you weren't chasing down business licenses and doing all these other things? So there are unique needs and unique issues related to that, and maybe that's what separates us, and maybe that's the thing that is important. But roads and infrastructure is an awfully big part of that as well, and we all have to deal with road and infrastructure issues in our times, and connectivity and this kind of thing. So we have to do our job and convince them to either join or come back, right? And the perception is there's no value, then that's a bit of an indictment on BACOG and the rest of us. So we have to figure out why that perception persists, right? But thank you. Next, public safety, Trustee Schaller.
Thank you, President Burke. Sergeants, while he is making his way to the podium, we thought the sergeant was going to be an interim individual. Proud to announce that you're stuck with us for a while, I understand.
You're stuck with me.
And we're delighted. We're already sad to see you go, and now you're not going, so.
Sorry, for the time being, I will continue to be assigned on our afternoon shift on highway patrol, so I'll be attending your meetings. From our, nothing significant, we've been in contact and we've done a good job. Some of the calls for service reaches out just to kind of get a little more update. Nothing major, which is great, pretty good to hear. Crime-wise, just a reminder for extra patrols. We have the summer season coming up, schools ending, summer on spring break. So let your residents know, go to the website, you can go to Colorado emergency number or sheriff's website. If you're going on vacation, give your address, as much detail for our deputies. If there's going to be a car left in the driveway, if there's going to be someone visiting your house, just so that the residents aren't alarmed. One of our protocols is to have our deputies actually physically check around your house. It's not just a drive. Walk around, make sure the back door wasn't smashed in, kicked in, or anything like that, like a vacation. So we do offer that service. As far as traffic complaints, just like your residents, if they see speeders, people going through stop signs, in the areas where children are out playing, you can call that in also, so we can kind of focus on those areas. Also with that, any suspicious activity. It doesn't always have to be actively happening. See something unusual in the neighborhood, unusual vehicles in the neighborhood, come during a certain time. Those are the things that we can get called in, and our deputies just check these extra patrols. So in an area like Lake Barrington, where they're not really going to a lot of calls for service, they're out there patrolling. They're doing something for the community. And last month's request for Lake Barrington shores, and just keep harping on our deputies. Just request just to kind of clear through there, but any area of Lake Barrington needs us. Any questions for me?
I have one question. I was driving home from dinner on Friday, March 27th, about 9 p.m., right down Chelsea Road, made a right turn here, and there was some pretty significant police action at a residence right around the corner. Do you recall what that?
So I was part of that. That was missing juvenile.
Pardon?
Missing juvenile.
Oh,
We have to keep calling missing juvenile. They're probably 15-year-old, right away from home, and we're just out there checking the area. And it was red shift change. That's why there were so many.
yeah, so it was a pretty big presence, and I thought, wow, that's a lot of cars, right, for whatever's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I was concerned about, obviously, we kind of got
Pinging the cell phone, tracking the cell phone, and it was coming into the area of Lake Barrington and Barrington area, so that's why we just had so many cars. There's also pinging here, so there's some cars here, just so we can.
And we were able to locate the individual?
Yeah.
Great, and get them back home safely?
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you for doing that. Thanks for answering my question, because it did alarm me at first, but it didn't look like anything urgent was happening. It just looked like jump right into action thinking there was something that we needed to be aware of. I'm sure somebody from your office would have reached out if there were really something significant going on that we thought we needed to be aware of.
I think that points out, again, one of the advantages, when an incident happens, the sheriff's department has the resources to not just one squad car traveling up and down Kelsey Road or 59, but has the resources to respond to a situation in force. And even if it's a lost individual, that you've got that, I think that's something that our residents should feel safer about and happy about, that we do have the resources available from the sheriff's department.
No doubt.
Appreciate it. Thank you about their team.
Right, yeah. Well, thank God we found the person, they were safe and returned home, so that's good, happy ending to that story. Good.
Lead me into, and I don't know if you wanted to comment on this, but there was an article in the Crib last week about the Elgin City Council members holding off on approving an ordinance governing e-bikes and similar devices until it's known if the General Assembly passes statewide rules this spring. To my knowledge, it's being considered, they haven't passed anything. But I guess my question is, and I even had a couple of comments from people in LDS, there are about 4 or 5 e-bikes traveling in group and causing some situations. And there have been a couple of instances in Chicago where people on e-bikes have gotten hit and even killed. Do we have any more, as far as the county is concerned, any issues with that?
Not with the county, we don't, especially not Lake Barrington. If you see the issue, we can talk about writing an ordinance violation for it, going down that route. But for the county, only mostly because we're in unincorporated areas. So we're not in the densely populated city areas like Indiana or anything like that, where they would probably deal with that ordinance related to that.
Then, at this point in time, there is no age restriction on anyone that can operate an electric vehicle? Don't need a license, don't need a driver's license,
Where they operate those motor vehicles.
don't need a helmet, don't need...
Nope.
There are classes of bikes, John, and depending on the class of e-bike, there are rules. If you go above certain classes, class 2 and 1, I don't think they're regulated at all.
Yeah.
Class 3s are, so there are some rules.
We can send you a memo. Becky's done a pretty lengthy minute memo with one of our other clients, and we're also have underway a draft for them to legislate in the area. But she also talked to the Secretary of State's office and the Chief Counsel earlier in the week, and they said, well, we consider the existing ordinance statute to be in place. We intend to have it in place for something more coherent.
It's just, I think it's a concern, obviously, the state. I know the legislative day, a lot of people talk about it, and our President Burke is obviously concerned about it as well, so I just think we want to keep on tabs on it, and if we're aware of any situations where we can obviously be of whatever input we can, I think we certainly want to do that, so thank you.
Yeah, I think our position on that, obviously, I agree. I don't think we have immediate issues. We're a unique landscape here. You know, we may have kids riding through the neighborhoods because we don't have sidewalks, so that means they're forced to ride on the street. I see kids in my neighborhood, not too many e-bikes or even motorized scooters, but, you know, even pedestrian traffic bikes, whatever, is always a concern, particularly when you have drivers that maybe are distracted, when you've got bad visibility. And that always kind of scares me when even families or people walking their dogs have to use the streets. It's no different at Lake Barrington Shores, right? I mean, you have to use the streets, so extra caution is always required. And if you throw the mix in these little motorized scooters and stuff, it certainly adds some chaos. But for the most part, we're not seeing an issue here. In our position, we've had plenty of conversation with council on this too. The tricky part is we want to make sure we both get the legislation right, but we also need something consistent that can be enforced. Because we can all start writing whatever we want, but how in the world are you ever going to enforce that? If every municipality has their own set of rules and regulations. So this is why we're actually, and our representatives are in Springfield saying we need statewide legislation, otherwise it's going to be incredibly challenging. to police and control and manage this and enforce this, right? Because it's just going to be incredibly difficult for community to community. So I think we're optimistic that they'll get around to doing this, and then we can look at that and decide whether, you know, hopefully we agree and can just let the state, you know, rules and regulate this on all of our.
That part of it, we would enjoy the state, you know.
And if the state fails to fill the gap and replace the existing statute, well, we do have some home rule tools.
We have some options.
Yeah, right.
But we have options, but we recognize those will be limited to how well they can be enforced. Right? So we don't want to do something just to do it if we make it very difficult.
Right. Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you being here too.
Well, kind of just an update from what kind of fire where we talked about our financial report and what our budget is. The proposed budget for the coming year in the Wakanda Fire District is $23 million. So, interesting. But I did want to impart to you, one of the things that they did approve is their ambulance billing rate. And I know a lot of people, as you see the ambulances both from Barrington Countryside and Wakanda floating around the area. What does that involve? Well, the new rate, if you call the ambulance to your place, is $2,801 for that trip. And $15 per mile based on a cost formula and accepted mileage charges. So if you're going to call 911 and you're going to have the ambulance, that's what you might face. However, I think both departments, I'll check with Barrington Countryside, but Wakanda only charges and collects what insurance or Medicare pays. The balance bill is not sent to the homeowner, it doesn't go to collections. So be aware of that. I heard people question they got a bill from the department, do I have to pay this? Fact of the matter is that they first go to Medicare or insurance, but whatever they can't collect, you're not responsible for. So if you need an emergency, still call 911. Don't worry about that. It's going to cost you maybe a few $1,000s to have them come and take care of it.
Hey, John, has that changed? I'm the guy that got the bill.
Yeah.
And I called, and they didn't charge my insurance. And I called the chief of Wakanda, he waived the bill, but they were still sending the bills out. And he said, he will not charge you, you just got to call him. So, yes. Yeah, it was surprising.
Yeah, they said, according to our we will not balance bill or send anyone to collection.
Well, it was a collection company that sent the bill.
Yeah.
Just let you know.
Well, that's their position, so if you challenge it, they allegedly.
They do, he waived it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, right. No, you've got to be proactive for having them waive it.
Me too.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. Oh, since I have the floor. Brief promotion. I'm also on the State Condominium Association Board. And just for your awareness, on May 5th, the local Illinois CAI is going to have a Q&A for homeowners and associations dealing with a variety of topics, and it will be convenient at the Village of Barrington Hall at 5:30 in the evening. It's free, so I just say spread the word. If anyone is involved in homeowner associations, this is a resource. It's available. It's coming locally, so if you'll want, be aware of it. Thank you.
John, is that for condos and single-family home communities, or just
Yes.
condos?
No.
Okay. So if you're an HOA and or a single-family home community,
Correct.
this is also a forum for that.
That's 350,000, I think, HOAs in the country, so
Yeah.
we're growing.
What was the date of that, John?
May 5th,
Is there a website where people can find out more?
it's CAI in Illinois, yeah. Yeah.
Posted on our website.
I sent Rebecca a flyer on it, so, yeah. Thank you.
Have we set a date for a meeting with the Wakanda
decided to combine the barn stomp with our 250th, America's 250th anniversary celebration. Barn Stomp has been renamed for the year Barn Stomp and Brews America's 250th hometown celebration. Ooh. Ooh.
We're gonna have a big sign for that.
Yeah, that's gonna take extra ink. But we do also have, the third Thursday every month will be our sunset serenades, starting June 18th, then July 16th, and August 20th. So, we've got some things coming up, just needs to warm up. Yes. So, yes, I know, right? And that's all I have.
Questions for Trustee Perkins? Just a comment. I know there was some consternation surrounding trying to get this 250th done and then trying to reconcile that against our annual barn stomp, but I just want to say I'm really pleased with ultimately the decision-making process because I think we absolutely came to the right place for all parties. It's rare when you can kind of say everybody. I had kind of a bit of a sigh of relief when we started this out because it was getting a little overwhelming on several fronts. And now I think we can, with one budget, one program, we can really create a bang-up event, not compete with other events for that time of year, not compete with vacations, and get it on a regular cycle where people are used to coming. So what we think it means is we'll have our usual great turnout plus those who maybe are extra interested in the 250th celebration. So I think that's really a great solution. So I applaud everybody who put their heads together to sort that one out and pull us out of our dive and get us back to level flying altitude again. So, amen to that, right? So I appreciate the work that went into the planning of the 250, and I know it was a ton of work, but hopefully a good bit of that carries over to what you're doing, so it doesn't feel like throwaway work.
Yeah, absolutely. We're still planning some of the same,
Right.
most of the same events, but we're just gonna kind of put it together with our famous barn stomp. So I think it was a great decision as well.
Very good.
Very happy with it.
Yep. Thank you. Next, old business, we have none. Ordinances, we have none. So agenda item 14 is resolutions. We've already spoken at great length. This is the consideration of a resolution, President and Board of Trustees of the Village of Lake Barrington in support of the preservation of municipal zoning and land use authority. We've already spoken about this at great length prior to committee of the whole. Mr. Bacon gave us a great overview of why we think it's important that we approve this resolution. Are there any other questions or concerns before we put this to our vote? Any other discussion required? Okay, if none, then Chair would like a motion to approve resolution number 2026-R-05, a resolution of the Village of Lake Barrington in support of municipal housing authority. Do I have such a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Perkins, second by Trustee Hayes. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Brenner?
Yes.
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Scheller?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes, thank you very much. Next is the opportunity for public to address the village board on non-agenda items. I see no one here seeking recognition. I see no need for a closed session tonight or other. So as the President continues to say, his favorite part is adjournment. So Chair would like a motion to adjourn the board meeting for this evening. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Van Ryn.
Second.
Second by Trustee Perkins. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?